What is good, yo? It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're gonna be talking about the content, the packs that are coming to NBA 2K23 tomorrow. Headlined, obviously, by, well, I can't even say T-Mac. I'd say headlined by Invincible Manute Bol, as well as the Season 8 Gheorghe Muresan. Now, here's the deal, and here's why I'm hyping up those two cards. I haven't even talked about Mark Eaton yet, which I'm going to get into. Invincible Manute is going to be a better version than the Manute Bol that we've already have in my team. I locked in at one time over 5 million MT for a worse Manute than is coming tomorrow. So he is going to be absolutely elite. I'm kind of hoping they change his release. Not that his release is the worst. It's just not necessarily the quickest. Now for Gheorghe Muresan, again, we're going to go back over all of these guys. Muresan is 7'7" as the biggest and largest player model on my team. Give him the right shoe and coach. I honestly think he's going to be able to dominate at the center position. So let's say you completely missed out last week on the Yao and the Taco and you don't have enough MT for those guys. This is a perfect drop for you guys. Now we're going to be breaking these cards down one by one. Let's start off with the Season 8 RJ Barrett, shooting guard, small forward. I think he's going to be a garbage man in my team. I don't know who needs to hear that, but unless you are a big New York Knicks fan, unless you are a big RJ Barrett fan, that card is not necessarily going to be the best option for you, in my opinion. Look, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying, you can't use him and have success with him. I'm just saying when it comes down to it, he is only 6'6". He's not perfect. He leaves a lot to be desired. And there are just going to be better overall cards in my team, especially because he's not an Invincible. He's not a Season 8 card. He's not an Invincible. He's not an Endgame. It's not like he's probably going to get too many new 6. Gheorghe Muresan. That's the next guy I want to talk about. Muresan is going to be 7'7". Even if he doesn't get a good release, guys, it isn't going to matter too much because of his player model and player build. As long as he has a decent 3-ball, which he's going to have, and a serviceable enough release that defenses have to respect, he is going to be absolutely elite. And he's going to be cheap because Season 8 cards are going to be cheap no matter what. So, Muresan, 7'7", gonna play lanes, gonna be absolutely great with his player model, player build, and he's going to be able to knock down shots for you. If you've never been able to use the old Manute, if you've never really been able to use any of the Yaos, this Muresan should be like less than 10,000 MT, and at 7'7", should have decent speed, should have a 3-ball, should be absolutely elite. So, I'd say Season 8 cards, Muresan, definitely highlighted right there. Then we get to the Invincibles. Glen Rice, he's fine. 6'7", probably going to have decent movement. It's going to come down to what release do they give him. Do they give him KPJ? Do they not give him KPJ? Stuff like that. And then within that, guys, how good is he within the grand scheme of things? I don't think too good. They could give him like the Danny Granger treatment, which he got the KPJ K-Love upper, which was a smooth release. But again, Glen Rice, just going to be another shooting guard in my team. I don't expect too much out of him. Jonathan Isaac, on the other end, is going to be one of your tallest shooting guards that you can run in my team. And he's also going to be an Invincible. Jonathan Isaac always has one of the best player models, player builds. He's always one of the top 3-and-D guys in my team. You're not going to run Jonathan Isaac at that shooting guard position as your primary ball handler, but let's say you're running Magic Johnson, Luka Doncic at your point guard position, heck, even the T-Mac Kawhi that we'll talk about later. Jonathan Isaac might be a perfect piece to fit right next to them. Now, is he going to be Jonathan Bender? I think he's going to be very similar to that, right? So if we think back to last week and what Jonathan Bender provided, absolutely elite with what he is. And I'm not going to sit up here and say that Jonathan Isaac's going to be better, going to be worse, because I don't necessarily know. But I think he's going to give you a similar type of output, right? Long, lengthy at the 2, not necessarily going to be that primary ball handler, but going to be a very solid option in general. Then we see the Invincible Manute Bol at 7'7", incredibly good player model, player build. He is going to be your best power forward and center in my team, probably. Now, I know he doesn't have the endgame release. That's fine. I mean, I've been running Manute's last card over like the endgame Yao, to be honest with you, because he is literally just as good. Invincible, perfect stats, perfect badges. Are they going to change his release? I don't know. I feel like the KD upper is pretty slow on the current Manute, so if they change it, I personally wouldn't be too mad at it. but that's just one of those things. Who knows, right? Who knows if they are going to change that or not. And then you see Mark Eaton as well. 7-4 for Mark Eaton. And he's going to get slept on with this content drop, but don't sleep on Mark Eaton. 7-4 as an invincible, good player model, player build. Gonna get maybe a new release as well, but he's gonna have a 99 3-ball. His release is already quick enough. Mark Eaton in this whole set that's coming tomorrow, whole drop that's coming tomorrow, is gonna be one of the most slept on cards. I'm begging you guys, do not sleep on Mark Eaton. Yes, is he gonna be as good as Manute? Probably not. Is he gonna be as good as Muresan? Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But do not sleep on Mark Eaton. Probably gonna be a better version of a guy like Big Z, who we did see last week, who is absolutely elite. So all the invincibles are good. Glen Rice, not super excited about. Jonathan Isaac, basically like a Jonathan Bender type. Manute and Mark Eaton, they're probably both easily top 20 cards. Manute, probably a top 5 card in the game. Muresan, probably a top 20 card as well. So I would say this drop not headlined by the end games, but let's talk about the end games. Point guard Kawhi, 6'7", 7'3" wingspan. He might be your best point guard in my team tomorrow because of his player model, because of his player build, and he should have elite movement. Now, that's just kind of my prediction. We'll have to see when Kawhi does actually get released tomorrow. But man, I'm excited about the end game Kawhi. Again, I wish some of these cards kept their own releases in a sense, so we could at least use the Kawhi Leonard up or something like that. But all these cards are going to get new SIGs. Even the endgame T-Mac is going... new SIGs for the card, old SIGs for endgames, man. They're going to get copy and paste SIGs of all the other endgames. So, between Kawhi, between T-Mac, who's the better card? Probably T-Mac. Who knows? T-Mac, 6'8", 7'2" wingspan. Is just, both those cards are going to be elite at the point guard position. It's just player model preference, right? Who do you prefer between Luka, Kawhi? Probably Kawhi because his player model. Who do you prefer between a guy like T-Mac, a guy like Magic? That is going to be up for debate. Obviously, Magic a little taller. T-Mac might move a little better. I don't know. My whole thing is for T-Mac, yes, it's cool he gets point guard eligibility. But the other T-Macs are just fine to run. And so we see 2 shooting guard point guards. We see 2 power forwards, small forwards, small forwards in KG and AD. They're fine. I mean, KG 6'11", kind of that skinnier player model compared to AD. But he's going to be able to play lanes decently. The whole thing for me is they're not going to be as good as endgame Bol. They're not going to be as good as endgame KP. And they're definitely not as good as Wemby. So between KG, AD, they're fine. You can run them. You can have success with them. But do I think either of those guys are like game-breaking good? Do I think either of those guys, are anything special? Not really. That, again, that's just kind of my opinion on things. You guys can have your own opinions. But at 6'11" at the 3, at this stage of my team, it's just tough to find a way to really make the case that they are that good at their respective position. So if my early rankings for tomorrow, Manute Bol, our best card that comes out tomorrow, Muresan number 2, Mark Eaton number 3, I'm gonna go T-Mac 4, Kawhi 5, KG 6, 87, Jonathan Isaac 8, Glen Rice, Glen Rice 9, and RJ Barrett 10. That's my initial rankings. Again, it's subject to change. That's just my very, very early rankings on these cards. The end game hype, the end game, I don't even want to know if it's hype, but the end games in general have just lost a lot of what they once were. I can't even sit here and say they were ever that hyped up, because they weren't, just because they're all copy and paste. Like, imagine if we just now got a T-Mac that was the best point guard in the game because of that KPJ with the Oscar upper, and that just like the T-Mac special. That would be so cool to have. Just is ultimately not the case. So end games, all copy and paste. Be interested to see what they do with Mark Eaton, Manute Bol, and even Gheorghe Muresan. What stats do they give Muresan? What releases, animations do they give Manute and Mark Eaton? That is ultimately what I'm personally intrigued about. But you guys can let me know your thoughts on each and every one of these cards tomorrow. Manute, Mark Eaton, even Muresan. Y'all got my heart, especially for the No Money Spent Squad series. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.